I didn't think much of it at first. It was said casually, wrapped in a laugh, like it wasn't meant to land anywhere serious. We were sitting at the kitchen counter, half-finished dinner between us, when Lena smirked and said, "Evan at work says if we weren't both taken, we'd probably be trouble." She rolled her eyes, took a sip of water, and added, "Relax. It's just office chemistry." I smiled back. Or at least I think I did. Inside, something tightened. My name's Caleb. I'm 38. Lena and I had been together for 9 years, married. For 6. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. The kind of couple that survived the hard years and came out quieter, steadier. No fireworks every night, but comfort, trust. Or so I believed. The thing about that joke wasn't the words themselves. It was how easily they came out. No hesitation. No awareness that it might sting. Like it was harmless. Like it didn't deserve a second thought. I let it go. I always did. At work the next day, I found myself replaying it. Just office chemistry. I'd heard that phrase before, always followed by a shrug. Always used to minimize something that didn't want to be minimized. I told myself I was being sensitive, that Lena was just venting, maybe even fishing for reassurance. Still, the image of her laughing with some guy named Evan stuck in my head longer than it should have, if you're already feeling that quiet. Not in your chest while listening to this. Hit like, so this story reaches others who felt it too. Over the next few weeks, those jokes didn't stop. They evolved. Evan says I should have gone into marketing. Evan thinks my sense of humor is wasted on spreadsheets. Always Evan. Always with that sane, playful tone. Always followed by, "Don't be weird about it." I wasn't weird. I was observant. Lena started staying later at the office. Meetings that ran long. Team drinks she couldn't skip. She'd come home smelling like someone else's cologne, mixed with citrus cleaner. Too tired to talk, too distracted to notice when I went quiet. When I asked how her day was, she'd answer without looking up from her phone. One night, lying in bed, I finally said it. "Hey, does this Evan guy know we're married?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "Of course." "God, Caleb, you're reading way too much into it. It's harmless. Just banter." That word again. Harmless. At this point in the story, I want to know, do you think jokes like that cross a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I tried to adjust. I told myself this was what trust looked like, giving space, not interrogating every detail. But trust is in silence. And silence was becoming our default. The first real crack came at a friend's birthday dinner. Lena had a little too much wine, the kind that loosens filters. Someone joked about office romances, and without missing a beat, she said, "Honestly, if I were single, Evan would be dangerous." The table went quiet for half a second. Not long, but long enough. I didn't say anything. Again, on the drive home, she reached for my hand like nothing had happened. I pulled away, pretending to adjust the radio. My chest felt heavy, like I was carrying a question I didn't want answered. If you've ever stayed quiet just to keep the peace, type the word silence in the comments. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I thought she was cheating least not yet, but because I realized something worse. She didn't see my discomfort as something worth caring about. My feelings were an inconvenience to be laughed off. A few days later, I saw his name pop up on her phone. A message preview. Just a line. Still smiling about today. She noticed me noticing. Turned the phone face down. "Work stuff," she said quickly. I nodded. Said nothing, but something shifted then. Not anger. Awareness. If this part of the story is hitting close to home, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it, professionally and discreetly. That evening, while Lena showered, her phone buzzed again. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The sound alone was enough to confirm what my gut had been whispering. She came out, towel wrapped around her hair, humming, kissed my cheek. "You're quiet today." "Just tired," I said. She smiled. "Long day for both of us." And for the first time, I wondered if both of us included someone else. Before we go further, comment below. Where do you think this is heading? Harmless flirting? Or something more? Let's discuss. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to. Be sure. Not because I didn't trust myself, but because I knew once I spoke, there'd be no going back. That night, lying next to her, listening to her breathe, I realized the joke wasn't the beginning, it was the test, and I had failed it by saying nothing. The next week passed in a strange blur. Everything looked normal from the outside. Dinners, small talk, shared routines. But underneath it all, there was a current I couldn't ignore anymore. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it. The way someone pulls their phone closer, the way their smile lingers just a second too long at a message, the way their eyes aren't really with you, even when their body is. I didn't go looking for proof. I didn't need to. Proof is for people who still want to argue with themselves. What I needed was clarity. It came on a Thursday evening. Lena said she'd be late again. Teen deadline. She kissed me quickly, already halfway out the door, and said, "Don't wait up." I didn't. I sat alone at the kitchen table long after the food went cold, thinking about how many times I'd made excuses for moments that didn't sit right. How often I'd swallowed discomfort because I didn't want to be the insecure husband. Somewhere along the way, protecting the relationship had turned into betraying myself. Around 10, my phone buzzed. A text from Lena, still out, probably crashing at Maya's. Too tired to drive. Maya lived on the opposite side of town. Lena hated that drive. I stared at the message, not angry, not shocked. Just settled. The kind of calm that arrives when your mind finally stops negotiating with reality. She came home the next morning, hair messy, voice soft, acting like everything was normal. She didn't smell like our sheets. She smelled like unfamiliar detergent and something faintly masculine. "Morning," she said, cheerful. "Did you sleep okay?" I looked at her for a long moment before answering. "We need to talk." Her smile tightened. Just a fraction. We sat across from each other, the same kitchen counter where the joke had started weeks ago. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I just asked one question. "Is Evan more than a joke?" She exhaled slowly, like someone setting down a heavy bag they'd been carrying. I didn't mean for it to become anything. That was it. No denial, no outrage, no shock that I'd figured it out. Just confirmation. She tried to explain. Office stress, feeling unseen. How it wasn't physical at first. How it just happened. I listened, not because I needed the details, but because I wanted to be sure of one thing. When I asked, "Why didn't you stop when you knew it bothered me?" she didn't have an answer. Silence filled the space again. Familiar. Final. I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and pulled out a suitcase. My movements were steady, almost methodical. Lena followed me, crying now, saying she was confused, saying she loved me, saying it didn't mean what I thought it meant. But here's the thing no one tells you. When someone dismisses your discomfort early on, they're already choosing themselves over you. The betrayal doesn't start with a kiss. It starts with the first time they decide your feelings are optional. I didn't argue. I didn't insult her. I told her calmly that I was leaving for a while and that we'd talk about next steps later. She asked if we could fix it. I told her, maybe, but not tonight, and not like this. Driving away, I expected anger to hit. It didn't. What I felt instead was grief, clean, sharp, and honest. Grief for the version of us I'd been trying to protect alone. And my brother Noah's place. I slept deeper than I had in months. No tossing, no replaying conversations. Just rest. Over the following days, the messages came. Apologies, explanations, promises. I read them, but I didn't rush to respond. For once, I gave myself the time I'd always given the relationship. Here's what I learned in that quiet space. Trust isn't about believing someone would never hurt you. It's about believing they would care if they did. And Lena had stopped caring long before anything became physical. A week later, we met to talk. I told her I wasn't interested in being the man who ignored his own boundaries just to keep someone else comfortable. I told her the joke hadn't been small. It had been a warning. One I chose not to listen to. We're separated now. I don't know what the future holds. What I do know is this. Saying nothing didn't protect my marriage. It only delayed the truth. And if there's one thing I wish I'd understood earlier, it's that respect doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes quietly, joke by joke, until one day you realize you've been standing in the rubble, convincing yourself it's still a home.